Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we got NBA basketball back. We have an 8-game slate today. Before I get started, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? It really helps the channel a lot. Also, make sure to check out the YouTube memberships. I've got the a breakdown for the college basketball slate that starts soon, as well as the NBA slate as well. So let's get into this though here. Before I get started, let's get into this injury report. We have a pretty interesting one here, so let's get into it. For the Heat, Hero is out, Bam is questionable, and Robinson is questionable. For the Bulls, Levine is questionable. For the Raptors, Achua is questionable. For the Nuggets, Murray is questionable. For the Rockets, Thompson is out. I'm sorry, I think Murray is out, not questionable. I apologize for that. For the Pacers, Nesmith and Nimhard are questionable. For the Bucks, Crowder is out. For the Kings, Murray is out. For the Timberwolves, McDaniels is out. For the Warriors, Green is out. For the Pelicans, McCollum is out. And for the Clippers, Powell is questionable and Plumlee is out. So let's get into these games here. I'm actually just going to go through, break down each player that I do like today. I'm going to start with Giannis. Now he is he is probable today, so he's likely to play. Now he dominated Washington a few games ago when he scored 73 fantasy points. He definitely has to get the assist numbers up to really pay off most days. And when Lillard plays, it does definitely make it a little bit harder. But he's still capable, and his price has actually uh, stayed around this price point for a while, which I don't think it's going to go any higher. But I do have a little concern concerning the fact that he, doesn't get as many assists as he used to because of Lillard being on the team now. Then we'll look at Tyrese Halliburton. Now he's been absolutely crazy good lately. He had one off game against Orlando, but he's getting another plus matchup here against Detroit. The Pacers are just flying in these games, and so I look for him to continue that and have monster game opportunities. Obviously, his prices come up a lot, which does make him a little bit harder to roster, but he is hard to ignore how good he's been playing lately. Then we're going to look at Paul George for the Clippers. Now, he's pretty much determined himself to be the guy that's going to be the most consistent for them. As he said, 5 games over 44 fantasy points in the last 5, and he's been pretty good even since the Harden trade. So I do like his potential here. He does carry a little bit of risk because he's probably got a ceiling around 50, but he definitely has a good upside considering the fact that he's been the best of the big four on the Clippers. Obviously, uh, you know, they can definitely switch that around, but I do think he's a decent play on this particular slate. Then we're going to look at Anthony Edwards here for the Timberwolves. Now, he's played very well throughout the season, though he has a lower floor than we like in this price range, but he's definitely capable of a good game, so he is a GPP play, as he does have a very high ceiling, and he's had some big ceiling games recently. This matchup is also favorable since it should be a kind of a running game here, and so that gives him a lot of potential. Carl Towns also in play for Minnesota. This game has a high total. I expect it to be a popular game to stack, especially with the pricing being relatively good. Sacramento has some guys that we like as well, but Minnesota definitely has a favorable situation here, and Towns is definitely in play. He's very close to being a core play based on his price and stuff like that and how he's played lately. James Harden is in play today, but he does carry some risk. However, the matchup is very good, and I look for him to continue to pass the ball more now that Westbrook is coming in as the second unit bench role. Harden is leading the point guard duties at least to start the game and through some of the game, and so that's increasing his assist numbers the last few games. So it's just giving him some upside, and it definitely gives him the potential to get over 40 fantasy points. That said, if his price gets any higher, he'll be harder to roster. Looking at Vucevic for the Chicago Bulls, now he's been much like the Bulls, a very lethargic team right now, but his floor right now is about 30, and he's playing pretty well despite the fact that the Bulls have been kind of lackluster. This isn't the best matchup, but I do like him at the price range that he's at. If he gets back over $8,000 again, he'll be avoidable, but he has the potential for good games occasionally, and he's definitely in a situation where he can. Then we're looking at Rudy Gobert for Minnesota, another guy that looks really solid in this matchup. He's, this Minnesota game should be a higher scoring game, and he's been playing pretty well. His price point has come down a little bit from where it was early in the season too, so that helps. When he's right where we want him, if he can get a double double, he'll definitely pay off here, and this game definitely has that upside to potentially do that. Then we're going to look at Chris Middleton. Uh, oops. shoot, uh, for Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee has been somewhat inconsistent, obviously with guys being hurt, and Middleton is on a bit of a minutes limit, but the last two games has been over 23, and that gives him some potential here as he's playing a few more minutes than he was. We'll have to see if he's going to continue to raise his minutes a little bit. And if that's the case, then he'll definitely become a viable option as long as his price stays lower like this, as he is a good scoring player and he's been in double digits in points in every game he's played, exception of the first two games of the year. And he's starting to get more out of the peripheral stats as his minutes increase. So uh, obviously he's going to be a little bit of a risky play, but he's definitely capable of a good game here, and his price is pretty good, especially on a slate that kind of lacks a lot of value. Buddy Hield, if he continues to draw the start, he's going to be a near must play today. His price is just too cheap if he's starting, as he's shooting a lot and scoring a bunches. Now, he hit a lot of threes, 13 in the last two games, but um, obviously he is a very scoring dependent player, so he's not a must play, but he was very close to being a kind of a core play if he draws a start today, especially in a plus matchup here against Detroit. And then we're going to look at Trey Lyles for Sacramento. Now, he played his first game yesterday back, and he played quite well, or sorry, 2 days ago against the Pelicans. He played 28 minutes, and he had a really solid game, having 12 points and 8 rebounds. Of course, he almost fouled out as well, but he played pretty well there, and I look for him to potentially play similar to this. Last season, he averaged 7 and 4 in about 17 minutes a game. With Murray being out for the Kings, he's probably going to get a little bit of a boost, and so that does help him here. And he's just dirt cheap, so he is a core play right now, unless some information changes, which suggests that he's not going to play the minutes or something. But he looks like he's going to be a great option on the slate, and so he's definitely somebody I really like a lot. You can also consider Cade Cunningham, Wembyana, Sengun, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Kuzma, DeMar DeRozan, and Jordan Poole on the slate, as they all have some upside in this one. Overall, I do think the slate is pretty good. There's a couple games that I am avoiding, and one of being the Miami New York Knicks game. That's going to be a pretty low scoring game probably, and it's pretty easy to avoid that one with several high scoring games like the Indiana game, the Minnesota game, and the Milwaukee game on the slate. The late games are not very exciting because of the Clippers being on that game and the Warriors versus the Spurs, which could be a blowout, and then Denver being kind of playing Houston, which should be a blowout as well. So there's some risk of blowouts here, but overall, it's a pretty good slate for DFS. A size I really like. I wish there was a little bit more value, but I'm sure if we get some answers to these questionable tags, we might open some more up. With that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day, guys.